If it's October, which it is, then it must be ADHD Awareness Month, which it is. And if it's ADHD Awareness Month, it must be time for TADD Talks from Ada. They're like TED Talks, but shorter, because ADHD. And this year, they're all about executive function. You know, that front part of our big ADHD brain that helps us activate, plan, and prioritize. Remember what we're doing, if we're following through or not. It's your chance to hear from 31 different experts. This particular TAD Talk is part of a special 4-part Activate Your Potential series for Black and Indigenous women of color with ADHD. It's being brought to you every Wednesday in October by Supernus Pharmaceuticals for ADHD Awareness Month. Let's listen in.
Hello and welcome to the 2022 TAD Talks with Ada. I'm Sudhita Kasturi, a certified ADHD coach and the founder of Leverage Your ADHD based in Northern Virginia. I work with high potential students and professionals who are stuck because of their ADHD. I also co-lead the ADA, South Asian Peer Support Group, to raise awareness about ADHD in the South Asian community. I'm excited to be here today and share with you. So let me paint a picture for you. It's 11:30 a.m. on Saturday. You slept in, ate a leisurely breakfast with your family, and the only thing on the calendar for the day is a classical music concert at 4 p.m. You offered to help with setup, so unlike all the other attendees, you have to be there by 2:45 instead of 3:45. You finish breakfast, and suddenly you remember something on your to-do list. Butter. You have jars and jars of cultured cream in your freezer that you have been meaning to churn into butter for weeks. What better time to do it than now? You bring out your blender and everything else needed to make the butter, and you churn away. Did I mention that in order to make it to the concert venue by 2:45, you have to leave home at 2:15? And because you have to wear formal clothing, you need at least an hour to get dressed. This means that you need to be in the shower by 1:15. Well, it's 12:30 by the time you gather everything for making butter. Suddenly, while you're churning the cream, you realize your formal wear needs ironing. You wanted to make lunch for the family. And of course, you need to eat lunch too. And all this is supposed to happen in 45 minutes. Well, as you may have guessed, this you is me. And this happened 2 weeks ago. I decided it was butter day and dove right in. But Sudhita, you say, you're an ADHD coach. You should know this stuff. This is what you help your clients with. You're absolutely right. I do know this stuff. But I have ADHD and I struggle with executive function too. The interesting thing is that these struggles catch me by surprise. It's not the day-to-day stuff that trips me up. It is these wonderful ideas that come into my head and make me forget everything that needs to be done. The only thought is to run headfirst to explore this new idea. Every so often, my amazing neurotypical husband will ask if diving into the new thing is what I should be doing. On Butter Day, he wasn't available to ask me this vital question. So why did this happen? Why did I think I could do all this in the short amount of time available to me? Well, it's called time blindness or time agnosia. Time blindness affects the processing, passage, and perception of time. Outside of all the practical issues that you hear about of non-completion of tasks, procrastination, missing deadlines, doing things in the wrong order, time blindness can also cause a cognitive overload, which makes it very difficult to cope with the tasks at hand. This overload can also lead to overwhelm, anxiety, and frustration. So before we move on, aren't you curious if I made it to the concert on time? Kinda. I was 15 minutes late, yet in plenty of time to help, and the concert was fabulous. The reason I made it was because my family pitched in. I asked for help, and they came through for me. It took 6 of us to do what I thought I could do all by myself. The big question is, why did I do something that I didn't need to do that day? For one thing, I had been putting it off for a few weeks, and in my mind, I saw a window of time to make it happen. Except I needed a lot more time than was available to me. This inaccurate perception of time makes us more prone to impulsive responses like making butter. The other thing is that those of us with ADHD criticize ourselves when we face challenges like these. And though some challenges are unique to the ADHD brain, everyone, neurotypical or neurodiverse, has their own set of difficulties. So sometimes we need to seek support from those around us. On that day, it was my family, though sometimes it's my friends and colleagues. So what can we do to make ourselves more aware of time? Well, here are a few strategies that would have worked for me and for my clients. Timing ourselves while doing tasks. So I used to think it took me like 20 minutes, max 25 minutes to get dressed. And somehow I was, late to everything. So I started timing how long it took me to get dressed. The fastest between taking a shower, grabbing my clothes, jewelry, everything is about 45 minutes, but it's closer to about 55. So that was a differential about 20 something minutes that I had to figure out and plan for and start early and maybe even put an alarm and say, hey, you need to be at your desk by 9. So you need to at least start getting dressed by 8 o'clock. The other thing was not saying yes to everything that came my way when an opportunity was offered to me, to take a moment to think about it. And sometimes that moment needs to be 2 or 3 days. So asking for time and saying, hey, listen, can I get back to you in a few days so I can make sure that I have the time to do this properly? When it comes to things like this, like butter, which, I jumped right in, when these new ideas come to my brain, it's to give it a pause and look at it and say, hey, can I really do this? And sometimes I've even had to write it out and say, you need to be out the door by 2:15, work it backwards to do that, and see if 45 minutes is enough to do everything that I had planned, which it was not. So then step back from that. There are times I still lose track of time, or I think something will take a lot less time and it will take a lot longer to do. Then to evaluate it, to step back, take a look at it objectively, to witness my actions and figure out what I could have done differently so I can change my patterns or my behavior patterns for next time. So increasing my awareness about what trips me up. For me, this happened while I was taking a shower that day. And I was like, Sudhita, how did you get yourself into this situation? And to be able to look at that and go, aha, that idea came and there was like no pause. It was just, whoo, I went right in. So what has been my big takeaway in my own ADHD journey, my work with my clients, situations like this one? I've learned that no matter how much knowledge I have, how much I plan, there are times I will mess up. And so I'm getting better at laughing at myself and enjoying the journey with my unique, quirky, and awesome ADHD brain, and making sure I savor the butter along the way. I do hope you're doing the same. My name is Sudhita Kasturi. For more information about me and my work, you can go to LinkedIn or to my webpage, leverageYourADHD.com. That's leverage, LEVERAGE, leverageYourADHD.com. Thanks for listening and make it a fabulous day.
This TAD Talk is part of a special 4-part Activate Your Potential series for Black and Indigenous women of color with ADHD, brought to you every Wednesday in October by Supernus Pharmaceuticals for ADHD Awareness Month. Be sure to mark your calendar for Saturday, October 29th at 6:30 Eastern, and come hang out with us on Twitter Spaces for a live Activate Your Potential with ADHD TAD Talk hosted by all 4 of us BIPOC women. It's just another way Supernus is supporting women with ADHD. Hope to see you there.